we've been conditioned to believe that we need to do that in order to maintain connection. Wow, I just said no, and I'm actually okay. Anyone who relates to people pleasing has an incredible skill set for referencing other people's needs, but they don't have the skill of referencing their own needs. Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Elise Parker, and on this channel I share videos about my personal growth journey. So if you're into that, go ahead and click subscribe. This video is actually inspired by my most recent retreat that I hosted on Big Island, Hawaii last month. And it was on the final day of the retreat that we were really focusing on integrations. And so we had a little bit of an open Q&A hot seat coaching experience, and one of the women at the retreat asked, how do I stop people pleasing and defaulting to what other people want me to do? And then she proceeded to share how she felt like she needed to prioritize self-care more. So in this video, we're going to dissect this question and answer a little bit and really break it down into something practical that you can implement in your own life if you yourself struggle with people-pleasing tendencies. First and foremost, we want to look at where does people-pleasing come from in the first place? Because what we don't want to do is, let's say, here's the people-pleasing pattern. We don't want to just stack things on top of it and cover it up and try and push it down and stop doing that. We actually want to get to know, well, why is this here in the first place? And from what I've learned in my own personal journey of very much being a people pleaser, or I won't identify as that, but having people pleasing tendencies, what I've learned is that this all started in childhood. And I think for most of us, it does with any patterns that are really active and playing out in our lives. And it's really like we've been conditioned to people please, to appease to other people, or to appeal to other people, to say yes to others, to put their needs and desires above our own. We've been conditioned to believe that we need to do that in order to maintain connection. And so that's worked for us. That's gotten us this far. That's gotten us to where we are now. But now we want to be prioritizing our own needs a little bit more and maybe have a bit more balance there, or maybe even come into connection with our own needs and desires and prioritize that first. If we're trying to just stop all of a sudden, like I'm so fed up with it, I'm so resentful of all the ways that I help people and nobody ever balances it out, we're like trying to just get rid of it, we're not acknowledging that it's actually been helping us and we've actually needed it. What we need to do in order to effectively transition out of that pattern and into honoring ourselves, first and foremost, is to slowly, in little doses, train our nervous system that it's actually safe to start operating in a new way, that it's actually safe to say no from time to time. Now, here's a little bit of a problem, or an obstacle, or just the reality, is that anyone who relates to people pleasing has an incredible skill set for referencing other people's needs, but they don't have the skill of referencing their own needs. So obviously this has been challenging if you're trying to get out of the people pleasing pattern and then start honoring yourself. It's like that pathway literally hasn't been developed. And so the other pathway of referencing other people's needs in the external world outside of us, smooth sailing down that pathway. But then we start trying to reference ourselves and check in with like, well, what even is it that I want and need and desire and like and all these different things? One way that we can start doing this for ourselves is to reference something called the needs inventory. The needs inventory, for anyone who's familiar with nonviolent communication, it is this PDF that I'll link in the video description that I actually want you to save it on your computer, print it out, put it on your fridge, save it on your phone. The first thing I want you to do if you're trying to get over your people-pleasing tendencies is to start checking in with this PDF, with this page every single day, actually multiple times a day. And what this is going to do, well, first of all, what this is just a list of different words, a list of different needs. So this could be a need for being seen, a need to be understood, a need for creativity, a need for warmth, a need for food. Like there's all these different needs on this list. It's just one page, very simple. And what this is going to do is start helping you build that pathway, lubricate that pathway of being able to check in with, well, what is it that you need in that moment? And once you've been practicing checking in with the needs inventory, you're able to see like, what are those needs that resonate in the moment? The very next step for you is then following through with something that's going to fulfill that need for yourself. So a lot of this you can do on your own. Some of this you'll want help from others. But let's say your need is to be seen. Like you're really feeling like you want to be seen for who you are, and you feel like you haven't been seen recently. So your very next step is to get curious of, well, what can I do to see myself? Well, I can do some mirror work. I can, sit down in front of the mirror and eye gaze with myself. I can journal. I can make a list of things that I like about myself, different character traits, different things that I've accomplished. So those are kind of different self-care practices, right? But what's so powerful about utilizing the needs inventory is that any self-care practice that you engage in for yourself is directly related to an unfulfilled need that you previously had or that you just had. When it comes back around to people pleasing and somebody is inviting you to do something, asking for your help with something, you are so much more connected to your own signals. So when somebody asks like, hey, can you help me with moving into my new house this weekend? You're able to sense much more clearly if your needs are fulfilled in that moment and you're like, you know what, I could definitely extend and help from an overflowing cup, or if you actually have some needs that are going to need to be prioritized above or beforehand. And then from there, it's really about practicing the communication portion, right? So starting to bring it all the way through into vocalizing and speaking out loud your yes, I'm available for that, or your no, I have some of my own needs that I'm going to prioritize. And I have other videos on my channel for actually communicating that, right? You can check out those videos if you're needing support with actually how to vocalize that in a way that other people can receive. But again, being really gentle with yourself through this process and probably doing your best to practice this more so with people who are safe in your life. And it's these little doses of being able to train your system like, wow, I just said no and I'm actually okay. Like I'm actually still alive. Nothing bad happened. That person and I are still on good terms. I said no. Now I'm spending time prioritizing myself and life is still happening. The show's going on. Like everything's okay. It's those moments that you're actually repatterning out of people pleasing and into prioritizing yourself. And so it's going to take a bunch of those little moments moving forward to start really changing the mode of where you're operating from. So be patient with yourself. I would say it's going to be easiest to just stick with a simple yes or no, and then get into the more complexity as time goes on. All right, love. So that is the practice for you to start exploring in your own life, in your own relationships. And I'm excited for you to dive into this and to start noticing how things shift for you and to start building that self-referencing skill within yourself and being able to see the impact in your life. So I'm going to include the needs inventory down below along with some videos for communication because that's so closely related in this, actually speaking all the way through and being able to honor your no or honor your yes. I hope that this was helpful for you and can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye.